Last week, I showed you the impact that crunched and broke my foot. Whoa. Now let's take a quick moment to get into some low-level podiatry. If you're mending a broken anything, you probably should not mountain bike or motorcycle, and beyond that, absolutely do not take any sort of medical advice from me. I'm just a guy with a YouTube channel, I'm not a doctor. First up, my foot didn't actually break. Instead, it was the big toe, right where it meets the foot, right in the joint. It's just easier to say broken foot, as a broken toe could be something as completely pointless as a broken pinky toe. Well, 2 days prior to Phil with Skills breaking my foot, I had smashed the dickens out of the same foot up in Whistler, turning it into a few different colors, and it was still quite sore from that when Phil was in town.
I hope I didn't just break my foot.
When I impacted that same foot for a second time, I figured it was just re-aggravating that same sore spot. Fortunately, I wasn't so lucky. At least in the end, none of all this hurt really that much, at least not when riding. Walking is a different story, but walking sucks, so net zero. You might not know this, but I really enjoy trail running. I think it's one of the very best forms of cross-training for mountain biking. And I may have used this hobby to scout out potential trails to poach back when I lived in repressive and discriminatory anti-cycling societies. But I digress. The big toe is critical when it comes to your running gait, so said broken toe seriously was an absolute stub of a situation. While my rural town of Bellingham, Washington has very little resources for medical support, I did learn that we have one truly amazing resource. Our local orthopedic surgical center, who does sponsor a local trail, offers a walk-in clinic service. This is amazing as there's an x-ray machine in the facility and the focus on orthopedic and bone injuries. Good care is available sooner than at many of the more crowded urgent care facilities in town. Don't go there for stitches, but do go there for that broken collarbone, at least on Wednesday through Saturday. Good luck if it's Sunday through Tuesday. The cure for the broken toe is to wear what the industry calls a post-op ortho boot. The post-op ortho boot is as stiff as it is stylish. Immediately, I noticed my motorcycle boots were significantly stiffer and more robust, so clearly, motorcycling was back into the equation. So the next morning, I went and did a few moto laps. I also noticed that my clipless shoes were worlds stiffer than the post-op ortho boot. The doctor said vibration wasn't a huge deal, but a big forward hit could easily dislodge that broken shard. Since this is not a case of constipation, we want to keep everything firmly lodged in the body, so I figured carry on somewhat safely, but with those stiff shoes. Since I couldn't bend my foot, and I really couldn't smash it off a pedal into something, it was time to temporarily swap back to clipless pedals, which I must admit has been awesome. I swore off clips back when I was in a horrific crash in 2019 that left me with my pelvis split clean in half. I also had a broken sacrum, a concussion, and a separated shoulder. Clearly, I had to make some changes in my life and do something safer. So rather than do anything foolish and drastic, I made a big change and swore off clipless pedals. I can't go nearly as fast on flats as on clips, so future crashes would obviously be at lowered speeds and therefore significantly safer. This is why you've seen a few clips of me recently riding clipped in. With clips, my feet feel much more secure on the bike with far fewer slip pedals, and with the clipless shoes, I can comfortably walk around. As nothing exceeds quite like excess, I made 2 more changes for the ultimate in Tootsie safety. First up, time for some giant 2.6 size tires. Going bigger on tires will raise the entire bike, bringing my Achilles of a toe up further from harm's wrath. We're gonna run these 2.6 tires. I love the way these feel on dry, dusty, loose conditions end of summer. That's what we're gonna have a lot of. I got a Trail Boss rear and I got a Vigilante up front. I used to work at WTB and they were kind enough to stoke me out with some tires. I'm also stoked because I wanted to run these tires in a couple bikes here, namely the Ibises, to help get their bottom brackets a little bit higher, make them a little bit better in the super chunky dry stuff. Okay, what do you think, Riley? Can we get these installed without tools?
Ooh, good luck.
Good luck?
Good luck.
Have I already lost the challenge by using the trash can tool?
No, it's okay. The stand is fine.
Recommended quantities, more is always better. Perfect. Ooh, it's got a little blue tinge to it. Look at that. Up front, I'm gonna run a WTB Vigilante 2.6 Tough High Grip. This is a very burly tire. I've really enjoyed this tire over the years. Thanks to WTB for the freshie. They also included some new sealant, which has been doing great thus far. I'll post a follow-up video about the tires, sealant, and the Santa Cruz Reserve wheels I'm using. Finally, the most ridiculous but interesting thing I changed were my crank arms. Though I broke myself on 165 cranks, I do think shorter cranks will further save my feet. So I started to hunt for something tiny. Hope Tech from the United Kingdom is famous for a 155mm crank arm, but those are impossible to find in the USA. I reached out to some friends at an American company called Praxis. Praxis makes cranks for all sorts of applications, including those for humans with damaged feet, or for humans of a sub 5 foot stature, often accompanied with less than a dozen years on the planet, and commonly referred to as children. Yes, I have cranks intended for kids' bikes on this Transition Spire. These 150mm crank arms keep my feet further from harm's way than the Sierra Club intends to keep mountain bikes from single track. They can see it, but they'll never touch it. So how's it going? Well, I've learned so much about the short crank arms that they're definitely worth an entirely separate video. I'll try them on more bikes, with flat pedals, and all the things for that video. But in a nutshell, these are fine for descending, but for flats or climbs, I definitely miss those old 165s. At a follow-up visit, the doctor even told me that healing was going well, and I quote, "Keep doing whatever it is that you're doing. Noted, doc. Thank you." At this point, I generally wear the clipless shoes around town, moto boots for yard projects, and don't do any running. But I'm confident that soon I'll have an A-OK for my orthopod that I can go back to trail running, as well as to adult crank arms and flat pedals, and just in time for that winter slop, back to narrow and ultra-sticky tires again. If you're mending a broken anything, you probably should not mountain bike or motorcycle, and beyond that, do not take any sort of medical advice from me. I'm just a guy with a YouTube channel and a microphone. Big thanks to all of you for tuning in. I appreciate all of your support. Stay tuned for the monthly updates to my Patreon page where we do a full riding tutorial. It's only posted to Patreon and nowhere else. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing your friendly get well messages down in the comments below. Peace and wheelies, everyone.
Sunlight.